We are measuring a bag of Sedona Plus. Eric is adding the 4.5 liters of water to the mixing bucket, as you can see here. Water in first. You want your water to be at least warm. You just don't want it cold. He now has a trash bag of material that is mixed up, and as you will see the way that he pours it in so as not to create a lot of dust here. He's just adding just a little bit. There you can see, yep, just a little bit at a time. He's added the material, and now he'll stir from the bottom up rather than the top down, so as again to create less dust. And this is one bag of material. Obviously it will take longer for 2, 3, 4, 5 bags, whatever might be in your batch. But as you can see, it is already mostly wet. He's adding a small amount of water extra to it. Rinse his hands, and or is that the remainder of the water? That was the remainder of the water, he said.
I had around 90% of it.
We now have the full 100% of water in the material.
Everything's wet.
It's now mixed, and we will wait for probably 3 or 4 minutes for it to for the glue to activate, and then we will recheck for dry spots. Okay, now we are going to add a little bit of water to the material to give it just a, move it a little bit from sticky to slippery. And as you saw, just a small amount of water. He's now remixing. It's about 5 minutes since we initially mixed it up. And this is just making it a little bit more slippery for the installation, as slippery is a little bit better than sticky. We'll now get up on the wall and show you how some basic moves are made, and go from there. Okay, now we are going to show you how to get the material off the hock with the trowel, and what happens when you do it incorrectly. The material is in a V, as you can see, and that does not work. As you will see now, Eric, as he's taking it off, and it just falls off the edge right down onto into the. You want to do this obviously over the bucket. He's now got a square front on it, and we're using suction actually. And look at the angle of the trowel, two fingers there, to the angle of the hock. He's pushing up on the hock and pushing down on the trowel, and if you'll notice, he turns it over the opposite way. He does not move the trowel out and straight out and forward, because if you do, it will, the inertia will knock the material off. And there's a sideways pulling it onto the other side of the trowel, and as you can see, it does fall off at times, but this is the kind of amount of material you're going to want to be taking off at one time. And you can do that on any end of the trowel. Okay, now we're going to go up on the wall and show you some basic moves on the wall.
Before you started.
If you notice, he's moving forward, backward, up, down, and all angles in order to get the material to the kind of consistency that he wants, the thickness that he wants. He can add material in that kind of fashion and put it next to it over there. Now he'll just trowel that all in and make that all one area. Just a small amount. A little bit here and a little bit there. Fill that in. And we're going to try to zoom in on this now so you can see the, let's see here, so you can see the thickness of the material. And we should be talking about the thickness as the thickness of the actual plate of the trowel. If you do make a control cut to check your thickness like he did, make sure that you trowel it back out, because any line like that, any geometric line, will remain in the material if you do not trowel it back out.
I'm going to trowel this up too far.
Okay, now he's going to actually trowel too far. Let's see if this is recordable. Let's see here now. We're going to zoom in a little bit and see if we can't see that really light area right there and through there. Yep. As you can see there, you can actually see the holidays right there. Yep. Okay. Yep. We'll zoom back out again. And now you'll notice he'll just take a little bit of material and put it in there. Trowel it back in. And if you notice, he's using longer, zoom the other way, he's using longer sweeping movements for the finish strokes. Get the material on the wall at approximate thickness and then finish with long strokes. Instead of finishing each individual 6 square inches, get the material on the wall at approximate thickness and then finish with long strokes. Okay, right now we're going to show you, with the trowel, you want to hold your fingers, your thumb and your index finger on each side of the trowel. They don't have to extend all the way to the bottom of the trowel, but they need to be, if you have that on each side, your control will be incredibly better than if not. Eric's going to do a baseboard, and if you'll notice, he took just a long swipe off of the hock. There's material sticking up off the hock on the edge. He just cleaned that off. Now he's going to turn it upside down and put it on the wall, and notice a little vibration as he comes up with it. Now he will do 3 or 4 of those sets just like that, and you want to come up at least 6, 8, 10 inches with each one. Obviously you will have come down the wall to approximately that height, and then you will move from the bottom up. And now he'll smooth it sideways along the bottom of the baseboard, which will thin the material out. He's bringing it up, cleaning it off the edge. Let me see if I can still get in on this a little bit better. There we go. And now he's going to use his putty knife to actually clean the edge here. And as you can see, he's just cleaning it, bringing it in. And now we'll use his trowel to smooth back out that area so that we have a nice clean edge that doesn't have any mica on it and meets the material that was coming down the wall. Okay, if this was a stained edge, you would go back with your knife and, just as Eric is doing here, create a gap that separates the material from the wood itself if it's stained material, so that the wood does not wick a tannin stain into the material, because the material is wet and will act like a wick and will just suck that stain right out of the stained wood, so you need to have that gap. You want to also then double check visibly from the top and make sure that you don't have bumps sticking out or an irregular line, and cord. Okay, now we're just going to show you how we would work at normal speed to put material up on a 6 or 7, 8 foot, square foot area by putting the material on the wall first and then smoothing it all out. And stand back from your material 6 or 7 square feet if this is one of your first jobs, and take a look for light or dark areas, and add material or move material appropriately while it's still wet. On a smooth wall, you should be doing, after you're used to the material, 35 to 70 square feet per hour on straight wall. We will now move into the other room and show you how to start on a ceiling and then do a corner. Okay, now we're going to do a ceiling, and Eric's going to put the material, as you can see, on the edge of the trowel. He will clean the trowel again. You can also clean it against the wall, as he will show you doing it that way. You then put the material up 1/4 of an inch from the top and vibrate it down. And again, just like the baseboard, you do the same thing. You put 3 or 4 sets up there, going down 6, 8, 10, 12 inches. This keeps the material from being pushed and squished right into the corner itself upon first movement. He's now taking his trowel and just going horizontally back and forth with it to smooth it into the corner. As you will notice, he's just using very light pressure. When his corner is finished, he'll then move material down to get the thickness correct. And if you'll notice, his trowel is also almost parallel with the wall in all movements.
I can hardly fit my finger in between there.
Yep, as you can see, just a finger width deep between the trowel and the wall. So we're almost parallel. And again, you want the thickness of the material to be approximately the thickness of the plate of the trowel, or a paper match to a wooden match, closer to a paper match. Okay, then again, you want to do this right away so that it doesn't stick if you get some up there. Clean the ceiling line with your 3-inch plastic putty knife. Get it while it's wet so that the glitter doesn't absorb into the dry ceiling and then become difficult to remove. Okay, that's the ceiling.